Hi, Gregory Beck with Tucker Rocket Distributing,
Kyle Bradshaw from Cruiser Customizing,
bringing you WWG.
On this week's Wednesday with Greg, we're going to be talking about motorcycle oil. Now, motorcycles have specific oil that's been designed specifically for wet clutch applications.
Yeah, there's been an argument for years that car oil is just as good in a motorcycle. That's a bunch of crap. You know, the motorcycles not only have clutches in that oil system, but they also have a gearbox. Those gears spin around with a huge load. Cars don't have that in their engine oil.
We've got standard petroleum oils, we've got semi-synthetics or blends, and then we have the full synthetic.
Yeah, right here today I have 2 gallons of full synthetic oils. Repsol and Motorex, 2 of my favorite oils. Why? Both of these are oil companies. They actually pull this out of the ground and make this oil themselves. They don't buy a base from somebody else and blend it. They control it from the ground to your bike. Yeah, and this one is for my 690 and this one's for my Honda 600.
Now, they're both 600s. Why do you run such different oils in each of them?
The KTM is a single with a lot of horsepower for a single, and the manufacturer requires a 1060. Pretty much that's almost why Motorex made this oil. My 600RR uses petroleum oil, synthetic oil, because it puts out a lot of horsepower and turns high RPMs. Older motorcycles, the guys stay with petroleum-based oils, and that's all right. Those motors put out less than 1 horsepower per cubic inch. My 600 puts out over 2 horsepower per cubic inch. Some of the big bikes are putting out 3 horsepower per cubic inch. The oil requirements are different.
Now let's talk a little bit about the petroleum versus the synthetic.
Full synthetic oils, the synthetic oil itself adheres to the engine components, the metals inside the motor. And if you don't believe that, take a piston out of a bike that's had full synthetic to a machinist and have them machine it. You'll find out really quick that the surface is not the same as if you use a petroleum-based oil. When you start a motorcycle, the most difficult time for the engine is when you first start it and there's no oil pressure or there's no oil protection. With a full synthetic oil, it bonds itself to the metal. It's always there.
Let's talk about oil weights for a minute. You've got the 1040, 1050s, you've got all kinds of different requirements. What exactly do those numbers mean?
Well, as best I can tell you is 10W40 means 10 winter 40. That means that oil is designed to flow at like a viscosity of a 10 weight in the winter. In the summer, it'll go to a 40. That's what that means. The W does not stand for weight.
Over the years, when synthetic stuff started hitting the markets, we started hearing that the lifespan of your oil increases. Whereas 15 years ago, it was every 3,000 miles, period, you change your oil and filter. Done. Nowadays, we're being told that we can go 5,000, 10,000 miles if we're running a full synthetic.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure about the longevity of a full synthetic on a motorcycle engine. In my van, I use a full synthetic, and yeah, I can go 10,000 miles. It also holds 10 quarts, so I'm not so sure that it being synthetic is the key feature there. I change my oil on my bikes usually right around 4,000 or 5,000 miles, depending on how hard those miles were too.
That's a big key. If you're just cruising down the road, an extended oil life cycle is not too bad, but if you're beating that bike to death on the track or some other sort of application, a more frequent oil change is definitely a good thing to consider.
Yeah, on my 690, I'll go 4,000 or 5,000 miles and then change it. On my 600, it's more like less than 600 miles.
So oil, make sure that you're using the correct specification that your engine and manufacturer require. Other than that, choose the brand that you're more comfortable with and roll it.
Yeah, and have a good ride.